Hello, I wanted to do a little talk. I haven't been doing very many recordings lately because there has been some very intense energies in my life, in my world, keeping me busy and also purging and clearing out personality, we'll call them issues, things that need to be cleared personality-wise. And I think most of you have either experienced this or you'll find that you clear them and then they come back around to be cleared a little more, a little more, a little more. Different levels of clearing, different things that you may have thought, that really sucked and I'm glad I'm done with that, and then it comes back around a month later. There's cycles, and just be thankful. Sometimes when you're thinking about how bad clearing something sucks, and then you have to clear it again and again, and it's easier each time, just be glad you did not have to clear it all at once, because just think how bad that would suck. I have to remind myself of this a lot, because as humans we tend to want to do something once, get done with it, and be finished. I think that's normal. What inspired me to do a recording today is I watched a video that gave me some triggers, but also brought up some interesting issues about the male-female dynamic that we have right now, and it made me contemplate the uncharted territory we're in some ways, as we're integrating our feminine and masculine sides in ourselves, and then we're also experiencing other people who are integrating themselves that way, and including dating, romantic interests, friends, people we work with, family members. And some people are really struggling with this, and some people are moving through it pretty more easily. But I watched a video earlier, and the young woman, I call her young woman because I'm 54 and she's like 31, so, and a lot of the people that watch her are younger than her, so in their 20s or close to 30, dating. I'm not sure what they're looking for, because they were talking about dating. I'm not a dating type person, so it's hard for me sometimes to relate to people who talk about dating a lot. I'm more of a monogamous type person in general, and I attribute that to my soul knowing of my twin flame journey. So, but I have had relationships and I have dated before, but not recently. However, back to the original point of this, is her whole thing was attributing her dating problems to feminism and saying that it's ruined her dating life. And then talking about how some of the men who contact her claim that they're afraid, they don't know how to flirt with women. And then she was saying she wished she wasn't. She was saying that she was talking about modern feminism, not the feminism from the 1960s, but then later in the talk she said she wished she could go back to 1960s and reverse it, tell them not to do feminism because it's ruining things now. And I put the message out there that the reason they have the choice to like certain things or not like certain things is because of feminism, and tried to say things were a lot worse, even with dating, when men didn't have guidelines of how to treat women. So there was a lot of sexual harassment and assault and things where women had no one to report to. They had no one to, go to say, that guy assaulted me. We were just supposed to be on a date. And I said no, and he didn't take no for an answer. And they would just be like, well, you shouldn't have dressed so slinky, or something like that. Like, they would, especially if the men who were taking the report were misogynistic, they would basically be like, well, you shouldn't have been going on a date with a stranger. They'd find a way to blame the woman. And I heard the girls on the live chat, I saw what they wrote, and I said things were harder on women before the rules of feminism came into play. And one of the, sorry about my notifications, I forgot to turn them off. One of the ladies who commented about my comments said, made fun of me and said, like, haha, you mean 1960s? What, are you dating guys that are like 60? And so I commented back, yes, as a matter of fact, I am. That is the age group I'm dating in, because I'm 54. And believe it or not, there are people over the age of 30 who exist in the world. So I couldn't help but feel like the whole time I was imagining, because the woman who was talking about this, she's very beautiful, very strong, very spiritually adept and attuned, and I really kind of kept picturing her dating these goobery spiritual guys who she wanted to turn them into a chivalrous kind of like old-fashioned guy. And like, I kind of felt like she's picking a certain type and expecting them to be a different type. And so I made the comment back to her, because she made the comment on my comment that those guys that do chivalry just don't exist. And I made the comment back to her that, well, maybe you're going for picking the wrong type of guys, because I found the opposite, that they do exist. I have men all the time hold the door for me, help me with heavy things, say hello to me in a very polite way, offer to pay for things, like, and I don't do anything out of the ordinary except be very kind and feminine towards them, because I'm naturally like that. And I'm like that. I'm chivalrous towards other people, and so I receive that back most of the time. And I kind of looked at her and thought, if I was on a date with her, I would be really intimidated, because she's projects a very strong, forceful, modern woman kind of projection, persona. And so I'm feeling like men go by cues, physical cues, verbal cues, and things like that, or male, because it might be two women, and one of them's more masculine, and one of them's more feminine, or two men, and the more male-dominant person will be the one who maybe both parties pick up on cues from the other people. And so she was like making a comment about being on a date, and that the guy was being really quiet, not asking her questions and stuff like that, and not responsive the way she would have liked him to be. And then at the very end of the night, I gave her a compliment, and she said that she was thinking, where were you all evening? I needed that, I needed that earlier on, because then she was ready to give up on the date. And I thought, well, that's kind of judgmental he was probably nervous because she's so beautiful. And I think the problem exists with not feminism, but the divine feminine not understanding the male aspects, and expecting too much from them when if they would just say up front to a person they're dating, look, I really like somebody who's chivalrous and will hold the door for me, and I like more traditional dating, and that's what I want out of dates. And if they would just be upfront with a guy like that, if the guy really was interested in them, they would make the effort. And it would be a gift to find out early on like a first date or whatever, if you see the cues that that person isn't interested enough to go the extra mile for you, and you want somebody to go the extra mile, then you know that right away you're not resonating with that person. That's a gift. Like, feminism gave you that gift by setting boundaries that weren't there before. Feminism isn't a gag order on a man. They can blame it. We can blame it on that. Men can blame it on that. Women can blame it on that. But it really comes down to, do you know how to communicate with other people? Do you know what you want and how to express it? And do you understand that not everyone is for you just because you're physically attracted to them or you have some idea that they're the person that you want? And it's not fair as a woman to expect a guy to magically know what they want and need at every moment and serve it to them without communication about it. And if you tell a guy, look, I like to eat at nice restaurants and I like to be treated like a lady and stuff, and they don't give you that when you go out with them, or they complain about it, then you know that that is not the person for you, that you are not compatible. This is about compatibility. It's not about feminism. And feminism gives you laws that protect you from being date raped, gives you laws that give you more equal pay, even though it's still not very equal. It gives you laws that keeps your boss from being able to grab your ass at work, okay? To put it plainly, or a man on the street, or somebody who is a business person from grabbing your crotch, like they used to do. I've had it happen to me, and the President of the United States of America openly admits he's done it to women in the 80s, not even that long ago. So, and I had it happen to me in school, and there wasn't an atmosphere of, even in the 80s, it's only more recently that there's this Me Too movement where men were afraid. And quite honestly, they should be afraid. And all of those men who are older who did all that stuff to us, they should be afraid, because that unbalanced male activity, whether it's from a female, male, whoever was doing it, is just not accepted anymore. And it's okay for us to say it's not accepted anymore. But it doesn't stop you on a personal level, person to person, with another person who you have a genuine connection with, to say to each other, here's what I like and don't like, and agree to that, and live your life in such a way that you aren't around people who will accuse you of doing something bad when you haven't. Improve the quality of the people that you're around. Improve the quality of the activities that you do in the world. And I'm not saying there's not some unfairness in every single law and every single idea that happens in the world, because there's always an element of unfairness in all of it. But for thousands of years, males were not the ones being treated very unfairly, except for poor males are being treated badly by rich males, etc. Women don't want to go backwards, and these young women who are bitching about their dating lives, and then trying to attribute some spiritual dimension to the fact that they're choosing the wrong people. Sorry, but it's true. Quit choosing the wrong type of people. Quit choosing the wrong type. Just because you like a certain type, or attracted to a certain type, and you have a habit of wanting to be with a certain type. If your type is like long-haired musician guys, or cute guys that do yoga, but they don't know how to treat a woman womanly, and you want that, you know that's important to you, quit dating those types that you can't get. If you're dating a certain type and you can't get what you want from that certain type, look at yourself and find out what part of you is doing that and projecting that out and attracting that to you and being attracted to that. Change yourself so that you change that part of your life and see what you find. But don't just do videos blaming it on important historical movements that made things better for a lot of people. So that's my rant about it in response to this other BS. I think it's BS. But I feel like it's an important discussion. There were some ladies on her live chat saying, this is an important discussion. Thank you for this in-depth feeling. And it was an important discussion, but it was... the discussion wasn't the right discussion, in my opinion. The discussion should be about communication and fixing what's inside of you that's attracting the wrong thing to you, instead of just complaining that you can't get what you want and find what you want because of some law that was passed. Because I guarantee you that it has more to do with the perceptions between the people and the maturity level of the people, between the people, and the truth about compatibility between the people. And there's these women that want something, but they want it to look a certain way, and the ones that look a certain way aren't giving them what they want emotionally. And so they need to quit going for the hot dudes that look a certain way and join a dating club or whatever that matches what they want romantically and relationship-wise. That's my truth. And so, it might not be true for everyone, but if you want to hook up, you join a hookup site. And don't be being picky about, if you don't tell somebody what you want from that hookup, don't be being picky about what you get from the hookup. If you want romance, put yourself into situations where you meet people that are romantically minded. If you don't want somebody who is intimidated by you, look at why you don't pick people who aren't intimidated by you. I'm not a dating expert. I'm not going to pretend to be one. I choose not to date on purpose for my spiritual growth, for my daughter, for myself, because I value my time to myself, to heal things in me that need to be healed that I feel wouldn't get done if I was distracting myself with other people. But I have dated enough people in the past and been through enough of the wrong kinds of relationships that I've had to look at why I attracted those to me and why I chose those things. And I'm speaking to this recording based on that experience of mine and what I've learned spiritually and what my higher self gives me, helps me with understanding. So I hope this helps somebody, and if it didn't, then sorry, I guess this is the recording for you, but if it did, then I'm really happy. And if you know who I'm talking about, just don't say anything, because this is just my response to that, because I really felt like it's not okay to attack a whole movement that has people throughout history who have sacrificed themselves to give us that thing. And then for somebody to complain about it from a selfish level, like that they can't find the date they want, is very irresponsible, in my personal opinion. Anyway, I love you all, anyone who's willing to accept this love, and I pray for goodness and hope and light and love around you, surrounding you. Emerald green healing when you need it. Violet flames protecting you always. Source love and light loving you and sending you high vibes. Take care.